Hello everyone, I'm the Mass Analyst. I've been making several videos the past few days about a drama that's been unfolding between Greg Solomon and Renetto, between Greg Solomon and myrealitybytes, and between Greg Solomon and gimmeabreakman. Well, a new development has occurred within the past day or so. Now, those of you who are watching this, if you haven't watched my previous videos, you should watch them. Otherwise, this isn't going to make any sense to you, and I'm not going to go back and explain it. So I'm going to assume all of you kind of know what's going on here. Well, myrealitybytes made a video which featured a toy, and that toy had a key piece of music, and that piece of music was the same piece of music that Renetto had used in his 2-bit video. And that toy had been produced well before Renetto's video. Now, myrealitybytes sent this video to Greg Solomon, and Greg Solomon proceeded to use clips from her video to bash Renetto over the head, making a video strongly implying that Renetto had plagiarized the tune. Now, myrealitybytes didn't like the way that Greg Solomon was using her video, and so she DMCA'd his video that used her clips. Now, here's where the key development, the new twist comes in. The key video in this whole series, the toy video that she had used with the same clip of the song that Renetto's video had, that video has been DMCA'd. I'll post a link to Greg Solomon's video in which he explains what happens, and I really urge you to watch his video. I'll also post a link to where her video had been. Now, if you click that link, you're going to see a message saying this video is no longer available due to a copyright claim by Zizzle, LLC. Zizzle is the name of the company that manufactures this toy. And Greg has concluded, and it's a conclusion that I would jump to myself, or that I would believe in myself had it not been for my interesting experiences. But he's concluded that somebody has contacted Zizzle, and that Zizzle's lawyers or someone from Zizzle company got in touch with YouTube. They sent in a DMCA and got the video removed. That's probably what happened, but it's not a certainty, and I'll tell you why. From my experience, and maybe YouTube has changed their policies, I would hope they have, but unfortunately YouTube is a big black box to me, so if they've changed their policies for the better, I certainly have no idea. They're certainly not telling me about that. But YouTube's policy has been to act on a DMCA, remove the video, no questions asked. And they don't even make inquiries as to whether the DMCA is totally bogus or whether even somebody is fraudulently imitating someone else when sending in their DMCA. Now, back in, I think it was, I'm blanking out now. I think it was September. No, I'm sorry, December. It was back in December. We'll just call him Perjury Boy, sent in a DMCA claiming he was another user, Firefly515, and he demanded that a video that I posted by Firefly515 was removed, or he was imitating Firefly. Thing is, he sent his DMCA to YouTube from a mailbox, an email box, firefly5155@yahoo.com. And YouTube just accepted this. They didn't question the fact that it didn't come from Firefly515's mailbox. It was Firefly5155. They were totally unobservant. They didn't question this at all. And so they allowed somebody to imitate Firefly515 and act on this totally fraudulent DMCA. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is I wonder, it seems so petty and so wrong for a company and such bad publicity for a company to DMCA that particular video. If anything, this video was advertising their toy. Tell you the truth, I have a relative, I have a nephew who I'm thinking about getting a toy for his birthday, and I thought, that's a really neat toy. I might just buy it for I never seen anything like that, and I thought that was a really neat toy. I may end up buying that as a birthday present or something like that. So it was good advertisement. Why would a company send in a DMCA about this? putting aside the fact that it's a bullshit DMCA, it's not a legal DMCA, that's not what copyright law was intended for, but this was damn good advertisement. Is it possible, is it just possible that someone out there doesn't like My Reality Bites? Someone out there just doesn't like it for whatever reason and has sent in a faulty DMCA pretending to be Zizzle LLC. Of course, if they were doing this, they would be committing perjury. But hey, perjury boy committed perjury going after me. Is it possible there could be somebody out there willing to commit perjury who has sent in a faulty DMCA, a totally bogus DMCA, in order, for whatever reason, to get to My Reality Bites? Now, the thing is, My Reality Bites could get her video restored by sending in a counter DMCA notice. And she might very well send in a counter DMCA notice in which she signs her real name, address, and phone number as required by YouTube and the DMCA. And of course, YouTube will then forward this as they are required by the law. Required is a little strong word. They're not really required. They could make an exception if they're willing to risk losing the DMCA protection against copyright infringement lawsuits. But if they want to have the DMCA's protection, then they have to forward that notice to the person who sent in the DMCA complaint. So if she files a counter notice, whoever filed that complaint will have her docs. Now, if it's a legitimate DMCA, and by legitimate I mean that Zizzle actually sent in the DMCA. I'm not saying that the DMCA itself was legitimate in that it had any merit to the complaint. Her video certainly didn't violate copyright law. But if it was indeed sent in by Zizzle, no harm done, really, or not much harm done. Because, yes, Zizzle will get her name, but I don't see that they have any real interest in spreading it around. On the other hand, if, and I say if, I have no evidence whatsoever to say that this is happening, I'm just saying that this could happen, but if it was an imposter who sent in the DMCA, then YouTube will just hand over her docs, and that's it. And I would expect to see her real name and address spread over YouTube. That's the way it works in these situations. Or else, if that doesn't happen, I wouldn't be surprised if she ends up getting some threatening phone calls or email or what have you. So I hope for her sake that it came from Zizzle. Again, I have no evidence whatsoever that anyone not associated with the company has sent in the DMCA, but I wonder exactly what safeguards does YouTube have to make sure people aren't imitating others, to make sure they're not imitating legitimate companies. I don't know of any. They may have them, but again, since their company operates like a black box, it's impossible to know. My one piece of advice to My Reality Bites, and I really hope that she watches this video, my one piece of advice is not to automatically respond to the DMCA notice to get your video back up. First contact the company. First contact the people at Zizzle LLC and ask them, did you send in a DMCA or is this somebody imitating you? That's the first step. If they sent in the DMCA, well, if it's important enough for you to get your video back up, then send in the counter notice. If they didn't file the DMCA, then you should take that into consideration and realize that there is a very strong chance that you could have a hater on your tail, somebody who doesn't like you for whatever reason, and you should take that into consideration and act accordingly. Well, this has been the Masked Analyst, under and in.